Alright lads, and welcome to a countdown of 10 reasons why Fable was such a good RPG game back in its day. I'll mostly be talking about the lost chapters, but I may refer to Fable 2 now and again. Obviously we won't mention that other installment of the franchise. So, let's begin. Now the thing about Fable which makes it stand out more than any other role-playing game is the fact that your character is much more characterised and fleshed out into the story. In games like Skyrim, your character doesn't have much of a backstory or any family or friends. You're pretty much just a stand aside in a story like an audience watching a play, and you can barely influence its events. Fair enough, there are a few choices you can make here and there, but it's nothing compared to Fable. The thing about Fable is that you begin your story when you're young and you experience your character growing up, and the fact that his family are murdered in cold blood and his village is raided by bandits has an effect on the story that you create. Jack of Blades is a culprit and the architect of everything that's gone wrong in your history and makes the player really just want to bloody kill him. Your character has actual motivations, which is like the bread and butter of creating an effective plotline in a piece of fiction. You could criticise how, fair enough, this was in the game, but it wasn't brought alive as much, since the character doesn't even speak, but I guess I'd agree with that. But the fact that the character can't speak, I think it brings something else into the game, which I'm going to talk about later. So that was my first point about the story. Now my second one is that the story itself, characters aside, it's probably the best storyline I've ever experienced in any game. Fair enough, it's not massively complex, kingdoms rising and falling like Game of Thrones or The Witcher 3, but that simplicity and how the story of the game focuses in on a family's inner desire for revenge, it does something I think a lot of games lack, and that's conveying a deeper emotive effect on the gamer. You might remember when on Fable 2 you temporarily go into that dream world where your sister's soul has been stolen and she kind of disintegrates as you escape. I mean, that is some pretty emotive, tear-jerking stuff. I mean, there's a lot of that in Fable. I don't want to give away spoilers, but you will literally feel sad when playing Fable. Now, my third point is also related to story, and that's the morality system in the game. You quite simply have the choice to become a sick and evil, twisted marauder or be a noble knight. There are a number of evil or bad options, what do you mean evil or bad? Evil or good options in the game, which could influence further events in the story, especially more so in Fable 2. For instance, actually I don't want to give away spoilers. This also had an effect on your appearance, like for instance, you could actually start to grow horns or a halo on your head. People could fall in love with you and ask for your hand in marriage as you walk down the street, or they could drop all the boxes and literally sprint away from you and hide in their homes. Your appearance was also altered by how much you ate, for example, since you could actually become fat. You could actually become a fat git and you actually aged, or unless you donated to one of the temples to begin a youthful gift from the gods. And you also, say you've increased your physique, you would actually gain more muscles as you progressed through the game. Now, the character development of Fable was also quite unique, since it rewarded you for basically playing better at the game. So the better you played the game, the more experience you got. So there's this thing called a combat multiplier, which adds up the more you hit people with your weapon or your magic, but if you take a hit, the amount goes down. So you had to skillfully use parries and dodges to, keep that multiplier up. And then the higher your multiplier, the more experience you gain from using your weapons or magic. The only issue with this was that veterans of the game could easily exploit it to give you massive pools of XP. Like right now I'm playing the game and I literally just killed the Kraken in 2 hits, which kind of removes the challenge of the game, but it is a good system, and for a new player it's definitely good, but it can be exploited, and I think without those, there should have been something in there so that he couldn't exploit it. The abilities you had access definitely deserve a mention. There was a lot more spells available in the first Fable, like Drain Health, Mind Control, Ghost Swords and Summoning Spells, which are all incredibly fun to experiment with. Another unique thing about Fable was the daftness and comedy, like having the ability to fart in people's faces, and the Demon Door complaining how he was never going to get laid because, well, he's a stone door. There was also this quest where you had to dress up as a prostitute and take advantage of the pimp of the brothel, who had a really bad eyesight, and then you could find out the location of his deeds to the brothel, so that you could take ownership and become a pimp yourself. So yeah, you could literally just become a chutney ferret in the game if you wanted to. That leads me to another reason, which is the marriage feature, where you can literally just own a house and marry someone. It's quite a small thing, but it's cool, and you could even have kids on Fable 2, or you can even get sexually transmitted infections. that kind of feature makes it a bit more human, makes your character a bit more human, that you can do all these humanistic things in the game. It's very basic it's role-playing features, which I think a lot of games sometimes lack. There's also a lot of collectibles and mystery in the game, which takes influence from those old 3D adventure games like Spyro and Rayman. There are these demon doors which all had a certain puzzle for you to figure out before they would open, and inside you would get legendary weapons and health enhancements. There's also these silver keys you can collect by digging up soil and fishing, which also contain legendary items. Anyway lads, I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. And I'm going to leave you with my final reason. You get to smash Lady Grey, and she has some bloody huge tits, right? Anyway, my name is Goblin, and until my next video, ciao!